Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. Whether you're here through Facebook or YouTube or StreamSpot or Zoom or, I don't know, a couple of tin cans and a string, however you are getting here, we are so glad you're here. We're grateful that you're celebrating Shabbat with us. And I know many of you are here maybe for the first time in a while, because we're celebrating not just Shabbat, but we're also celebrating a very important simcha for the Hayden family. It is that is Elizabeth becoming Bat Mitzvah. So where you might expect only a cantor and only a rabbi to be leading services tonight we have another partner who is, as we are celebrating, perhaps the world's newest Jewish adult. And so she's going to be helping us lead services this evening. A couple of quick notes before we get started. If you I'm going to be calling page numbers out of a Siddur. That's a Jewish prayer book. And if you don't have the one that we have, it's the Siddur Sim Shalom for Shabbat. You're here on Zoom, you can download a copy of it in PDF or link to a copy of it in PDF in the Zoom chat. Also, this is, and this is very important, this is a singing community. A lot of the prayers that we have tonight are going to be sung, and I highly encourage you to sing along. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't know the words, that's okay. If you catch the tune and you want to hum it, if you want to try the words out, if you want to make up your own words, that's cool. And even though everybody's on mute, so that the service sounds good, I encourage you to sing out wherever you are. And even if we can't hear you, we will feel your presence. So please join us as we start with our first song. That's Shalom Aleichem on page 13. Page 13.
Together.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet,
Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Malachem LaShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Mi LeShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Tzechem LaShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Together. Yay, yay, lay, 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 yay, lay, 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 lay. Yay, yay, lay, 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 lay. Oy, oy, oy. Tzechem LaShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu.
We just sang a song about the angels that escort us into Shabbat and protect us throughout this holy day. We now have a special blessing for the lights that we illuminate the Sabbath with, and we're going to go to the chapel where Elizabeth and her sister Isabella and her mother Carmen are going to say the blessings over the candles.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. just as we use candles to help illuminate this holy day, we also have this practice that goes back to the Middle Ages of stepping up into Shabbat by way of a sulam, a kind of a ladder. It's a series of psalms and songs that the Kabbalists of Sfat gave to us in order to elevate us from the mundanity of the work week into the holiness of Shabbat. That starts with a psalm that begins L'chu Neranena on page 15. Page 15. L'chu Neranena, L'chu Neranena,
L'chu neranena l'Adonai. L'chu neranena, l'chu neranena, l'chu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria לצור אישנו, נקד מפניו בתודה. נריע, נריע לצור אישנו, בזמירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. כי אל גדול אדוני מלך גדול על כל אלוהים אשר ביום. ארבעים שנה אקוט ודור ואומר המטועי לבבם והם לא ידעו אשר נשבעתי באפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. יאיר הלילה, יאיר הלילה, יאיר הלילה, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו יספרו בגויים כבודו וכל העמים נפלאותיו כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד נורא על כל אלוהים יאיר הלילה
That song, Shir L'Adonai Shir Hadash, means sing to God a new song. And in addition to the Psalms from King David, the Kabbalists of Sfat composed an original tune merely 500 or so years ago called Lecha Dodi. And Lecha Dodi means "Come, my beloved." This is how they saw the Sabbath entering their week, entering their lives like a bride coming down the aisle, like a queen visiting from a distant castle. And in any case, this is the regard with which they welcomed the Sabbath. It starts Lecha Dodi on page 21, page 21.
ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי. על יד איש ונפרצי, ואני שמחה ונגיל עליך אדוני. לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבל עליך אדוני. לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבל. בואי ושלום אתן את מעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה לך אדוני. לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבל עליך אדוני. לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבל עליך אדוני. לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבל עליך אדוני. לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבל.
It's our custom at this time to acknowledge and to welcome those who are currently in the depth of mourning, in the middle of Shiva, just ending it at this time in the service, and to extend our tradition's words of comfort. We want to welcome to this space the Lindstone and Michelson and Mukherjee family, who are still amid sitting Shiva for their father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, Louis Brief. In the words of our tradition, for their comfort are these: Hamakom yenachem etchem b'toch shar avalet Zion v'Yerushalayim. May Hamakom, the ever-present one, comfort you as our Holy One comforts all those who are in mourning. We continue the Kabbalat Shabbat service with a special psalm that was designated just for Shabbat, and you can find it on page 23, Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Let's join together. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך באמונתך בלילות, עלי אסור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועליך, במעשה ידיך, במעשה ידיך ארנה. ולזמר לשמך העליון. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מעולם וקומה שבותיך. ומה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מעולם וקומה שבותיך. יא 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 מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Once again, Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center to celebrate Shabbat, to celebrate with the Hayden family, their daughter Elizabeth becoming Bat Mitzvah. Wherever you're coming from, I strongly believe you are in the right place, and I'm grateful that you are here with us. I have to ask a quick question to the Bat Mitzvah. Elizabeth, are you ready to give the sermon tonight, or would you like me to?
I would like you to.
Tell you what, I'll give it tonight and you do it tomorrow, and that's fine. So what you've just witnessed is a custom that I have here at PJTC of freaking out the Bat Mitzvah right before she's about to do prayers and stuff. So if you do the same joke over and over again, it is technically a ritual. So with that, I wanted to start with something traditional because in the words of Torah that I want to share tonight, I'm going to do a couple of things that I don't normally do. First, I want to break a rule of sermon giving that was given to me by a mentor and dear friend, Rabbi Dan Shevitz, who, when I was his intern and he was guiding me on how to prepare sermons, he said, "Hey, I have a little mnemonic for you. I want you to remember to avoid the French salad." Like, what on earth could that possibly mean, avoid the French salad? He says, when you're giving a sermon, leave out "let us" and "may we." Let us and may we. French salad. Okay. Something about Zoom. You never know when the jokes are landing. But and he said there's a couple of good reasons for this. One, you shouldn't tell people what to do. Right? Don't go around telling people what to do. Just teach Torah. I think that's probably a safer way to go. And if you're going to tell people what to do, let us and may we. Don't use the cohortative. Right? That's if you're going to tell people what to do, tell them what to do. Don't use the "hey, wouldn't it be great, gang, if we did this." If you are going to break that rule, break it hard. Because if you're breaking that rule, it's because it is important. And normally I don't like telling people what to do. I'm sure there are people who would argue with me, especially my children. And I just like to teach Torah. The other rule I'm breaking is I like to keep it light on Friday nights, especially when there's a Bat Mitzvah. But the world, my friends, is unusually heavy. And most of the time, I try to follow Rabbi Shevitz's advice, except when lives are at stake in my community. Then I try to do both. I'm going to teach a little Torah, and I'm going to tell you what to do. And I say this with all possible humility and urgency. I implore you, please, if you have the opportunity to do so, when you have the opportunity to do so, please obtain your full course of vaccination against COVID-19 as soon as it becomes available to you. I wouldn't be saying this unless I knew that there were people who are hesitating for lots of good reasons, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I need you to hear from me, this is a mitzvah to get your vaccinations. Not only in the sense of a good deed, a kindness you can do to help us safely reunite our community and end others' suffering, but also a mitzvah in the sense that our tradition regards it as a holy obligation incumbent upon every Jew whose doctor says it is safe for them to do so. It is a good deed, and it is a commandment. In the coming week, as early as Monday, I'm going to be sending out an email to the entire congregation that contains a couple of attachments. It's 2 tshuvot. These are legal responsive papers that come from the CJLS, the Committee on Jewish Law and Standards, the body of rabbis for the conservative movement who look at what is new in the world and say, what is the Jewish way to regard that? And they give a variety of opinions on things, some of them conflicting, because they know that communities are different. But these are different in their unity. For brevity and convenience, I will sum up for you the most relevant rulings to our situation here. And these are from the tshuvot of Micah Peltz and also from Rabbi David Galinkin. Jewish law requires Jews to vaccinate themselves and their children against disease, provided the vaccines prove efficacious and safe compared to the risk of the disease. The available COVID vaccines meet that standard under Jewish law, demonstrating that they are orders of magnitude more safe than life without them. The only exception to this commandment is when a person's doctor determines that that specific person should not be vaccinated due to a pre-existing condition. These are the rulings of our rabbis, and not just our rabbis. I'm sending you these tshuvot for a couple of reasons. One, because, as I said before, I love teaching Torah. And these legal papers are chock full of diverse sources that show you just how deeply and broadly this present moment is aided by the voices of our timeless Jewish tradition. You will see that rabbis from across our Jewish family, from the most progressive to the least, and all stripes in between, have spoken with one voice on the obligation to protect your health and the health of your community. These unified voices echo throughout the sweep of Jewish history, from the ancient plagues of Mishnaic times to the smallpox epidemics of a couple of hundred years ago, up to our present day. The other reason I want to share these with you is that these 2 documents demonstrate a rare miracle in Jewish dialogue: the unity of opinion on this matter of grave import. It is not unprecedented for this legal body to approve a paper unanimously without abstention. However, this unanimity is exceedingly rare. We are Jews. But this unanimity speaks to the peril of our times, the clarity of our tradition on this point, and the solidarity with which we must act. This never happens, almost, that everybody says this is the right way to do it. And here are 2 papers back to back that say so. If you're curious about these opinion papers and you want to read them and study with them in dialogue with me more in depth, we are going to be having one of our social halls on Tuesday, February 2nd. I'll share these papers with you. We can discuss them in the social hall. I'll answer whatever questions you have about their contents or their procedures, because this is important. Now, I know And I'm getting worked up. And I know many of our families have already taken advantage of the available vaccine or else have no hesitation about getting the shots as soon as possible. If this is the case for you, please know that you've not just done the right thing, you have done a mitzvah, fulfilling a sacred responsibility given to us to distinguish our lives, to make our lives holy, and to repair what is broken in the world. I know many of our senior members who are desperately trying to get the vaccine. They said, John, I hear you. I'm way ahead of you. I am trying as much as I can, but all the dates are booked up and I don't know when to have to call before dawn to get an appointment. I would if I could. Help. So for those of you who are trying and are having a hard time, I would say lean on us, lean on each other. For those of you who found your way through the system and you know some tips and tricks you can share, please share them. And we will figure out a way to get through this together as quickly as possible. Nevertheless, the urgency with which I share this message comes from talking to many of you and hearing about many of you who have expressed hesitation for a variety of salient reasons. The unprecedented haste of the vaccine's development. Questions about the safety of vaccines in general persist. And even the ethics of taking advantage of a scarce resource when so many in our city and on our planet don't have access to it. Is it okay? I don't dismiss your concerns. Neither do these Chuvot. But all things considered, the science is clear. The guidance of our sages is unequivocal. The life-saving benefit of vaccine proliferation, not only for you, but for your community, outweighs what measured risk may come with such measures. Regarding the ethics of distribution, our rabbis conclude that you do the most good for others in this moment by safeguarding your own life as soon as possible. It's been a while since some of us have been in an airplane, but you probably remember the spiel. You have to be able to breathe. You have to be able to put your own mask on first if you're going to help someone else. Now, when studying these Chuvot and all their varied sources throughout our history, the one that struck me the hardest was the commentary of a teacher named Avram ben Shlomo of Hamburg, also known as Abraham Nanzig. He was a Torah scholar who corresponded with some students who were in London, and he sent a letter of guidance based on their questions. Rabbi, is it okay for me to get a treatment for smallpox? I should have mentioned this was in 1785. The trick is, in 1785, smallpox was rampant in Europe. And by rampant, I mean it was killing 400,000 people a year, roughly the number of people who've died in America alone in the last 10 months. And also salient is the fact that a stable vaccine wasn't invented until 11 years later. But they had a treatment. They had a very rough hack, if you will, of a treatment. The treatment for the inoculation, and this is frontier medicine, folks. The inoculation for smallpox was they would take a needle and thread, and they would drag the thread through some of the substance that came from smallpox blisters, and then they would insert the needle under the skin and draw the thread through, and so people would be exposed to a little bit of smallpox. And this was not without side effects, but what happened was way less severe than an unprotected case of smallpox. This was the common inoculation for smallpox among revolutionary troops in America at this time. The Continental Army did the same thing. There's a story of Martha Washington, because she wanted to spend a season with her husband on the fronts, went through this same treatment, and it was not pleasant, but it was necessary. And when Abraham Nanzig's students wrote to him, they knew that he'd already lost 2 sons to smallpox. And so he wrote them back He said, this disease is so widespread, so contagious that everyone should be considered at risk, and therefore the benefit of the vaccine, even one that was new and uncertain and not with a great track record, outweighs the risk. In other words, for him, the greater societal benefit of taking the vaccine, along with the serious consequences of contracting the disease, outweighs the risk that it might pose to a few individuals. He wrote his students because he did not want a single new person to suffer the way he did. As a loving member of our diverse PJTC family, I hope that it will be a rare occasion indeed where you hear from me that there is only one right way to do a thing as a Jew. Nothing is more precious to me than the diversity of our heritage and our sacred approach to harboring disagreement with dignity. I sincerely hope we never face a situation like this again. But hear me now. You owe your community. You owe it to your family. You owe it to the frontline medical workers who are bending and breaking to keep us safe. You owe it to everyone who has had a Zoom baby naming, a Zoom bat mitzvah, a Zoom wedding, and a Zoom funeral. And you owe it to those who have perished for the lack of the opportunity you have now. This may sound harsh, this may sound hyperbolic, but as your rabbi, I owe it to you to tell you what I believe in my heart of hearts. In a time that strains us all, this is the right thing to do. And if my urgency has upset you, I beg you for your forgiveness. But with the blood of more than 2 million souls crying out from the ground worldwide, I will not be silent. So I conclude with blessings of health, with patience, and with strength. Shabbat Shalom. And thank you again for joining us at PJTC. We are going to continue with our holy celebration of Shabbat, and we are going to be led by an able student, and now our teacher, Elizabeth Hayden, is going to begin the Ma'ariv service with the Barhu on page 28. She's going to turn and face the ark and lead us in the Barhu.
She's going to get close to the microphone so everyone can hear her. Go ahead.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בדברו מלא ורבים וחוכמה פותח שערים ובגונם שנים.
Umavir yom umevi layla, umavdil ve'yom uvein layla. Adonai tzavot shemo, echad v'kayam zamiyam ochaleinu, le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai,
ברוך ברוך שמו.
Amariv Aravim.
Amen.
If you're standing, you may be seated. We have just blessed God for the light with which God illuminates our lives, and now we bless God for the love which God teaches us to give to each other. Ahavat Olam on page 29. Page 29.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו ושוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה נהגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל.
On page 30, Elizabeth will now lead us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shidecha bebeitecha ולכתך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך.
You can continue at the bottom of page 30 at your own pace, and we'll get back together on page 31 in just a moment. We now join together at the top of page 31, where Elizabeth will lead us in Vayomer.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, Daber el bnei Yisrael v'rmatam alehem, v'asu lahem tzitzit, al kanfei b'nechem lezorotam, v'nanu al tzitzit hakanaf b'tzil zechelet, v'haya lachem letzitzit, oritem otot, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue at the top of page 32. Page 32. We bless God for God's light. We bless God for God's love. In this passage, we bless God for God's redeeming nature. We are studying at this time the book of Exodus, Sefer Shmot, the story of our origin, and we began with redemption. When we crossed through the split sea, we sang spontaneously in joy, Mi chamocha be'elim Adonai, who is like you among all who are worshipped. And this is a song that we quote in the middle of this bracha that's in the middle of page 32.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקר היום לפני משה ומרים. זה לי, אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונברך יפד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
God doesn't redeem us just for travail. God redeems us for peace. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Hashkivenu on page 32, page 33, page 33.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור את צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום, ואתה ועד עולם. Together. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו ומלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. שלום, 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 shalom, shalom, one day, shalom, shalom, shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Page 34, page 34, we recall a moment from elsewhere in the book of Shemot that tells us how to observe Shabbat. Page 34.
I'm going to ask the Nell Chapel's views so we can have our Bat Mitzvah join us and lead us in Veshambro.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue with Chatzi Kaddish.
יקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
ועמד יברא גרתי, וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חיים יום אחד, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב, וימרו.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ועולמי עולמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתבהר ויתרומם וינשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקדושה. לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירם בעלמא, וימרו.
Amen. I'll ask you to rise if you're able. This is a part of our service where we recite the Amidah, but by recite, I mean we pray it privately. This is the silent Amidah for Shabbat evening. We rise. If you would like to use the words from our tradition on the page, they are strong and they will support you. It's on page 35B. This is also a place where you can share whatever prayer is in your heart. So take a few moments for your personal prayer, and we'll get back together in just a few moments. When you're finished with your own prayer, you may be seated. We conclude the Amidah with the Kaddish Shalem, led by Elizabeth on page 48. Page 48.
Yekadal v'yekadasha meraba.
Amen.
Amadi v'rakirte v'yamlik malchute. V'chayachonav yomechonav chayadachol b'Yisrael. V'galav izman kari v'himaru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabba mevorach. V'halamol me'omaya. Yitzbarach. Yeparach v'yishtabach v'yapar v'yipramam v'yanaseh. V'yatazar v'yatala v'yatala shemei kodesha. V'hela min kol berachata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiram be'alma v'himaru.
Amen.
Titkabat laton avoton. Zechol Yisrael kadam avuhon diveshemai v'himaru. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'himaru.
Amen.
Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael ve'el kol yoshvei tzavel v'himaru.
Amen. In just a moment, we're going to begin to end our service with a prayer Aleinu, which is on page 51. And for that purpose, I would like to call up a couple of people who are very special and have been given the honor to open the ark for Aleinu. And they are Isabella and Joseph Hayden, Elizabeth's sister and brother, respectively, or as I like to think of them as once and future B'nai Mitzvah. Please rise as the ark is open.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורל עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. על כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו לפניו. כי המלכות שלך היא, וללמיה תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
As the ark is closed, you may be seated. Even as we gather in joy for Shabbat and Bat Mitzvah, we remember most acutely those who are no longer with us. In the coming week here at PJTC, we are marking the yahrzeit and the anniversary of the passing of Alex Schaefer, Andrew Scher, Ann Muriel Collin, Ben Siegel, Bess Mayer, Carol Kleins, Daisy Siegel, David Arkush, Eleanor Levy, Elsa Lerner, Estelle Alper, Esther Greenberg, Esther Rosefield, Esther Schneider, George Black, Gertrude White, Goldie McGilner Paul, Helen Farbman Jacobson, Isidore Goldman, Janet Wingus, Jill Robin Brown, Manya Schwartz, Marcia Elsner, Marilyn Bosch, Mark Schaefer, Max Maniloff, Meyer Cohen, Nathan Schenfeld, Norman Gertz, Pete Sadler, Ralph Rosefield, Rod Edwards, Ruth Mark, Sylvia Margolin, Thomas Haig, Valerie Kronsberg, Walter Furman, and Zahava Eckstein Sweet. Also want to let you know before we say Kaddish, this week we mourn the loss of Sarah Sternberg, who passed away this past Tuesday, January 19th, at the age of 99, I believe. She was the wife of Nathan Sternberg of beloved memory, the mother of Kenny of blessed memory, and also Lester, Terry, and Ronnie as well. She was the grandmother of 10 and the great-grandmother of 10. A private funeral will take place this Tuesday at 1 p.m. at Mount Sinai of Hollywood Hills. We pray that Sarah's memory be always for blessing. Hamakom Yenachem, may God comfort and strengthen the family at this time. I'll ask that if you're in mourning or observing a yahrzeit, please rise for the mourner's Kaddish, the Kaddish Tome on page 52. Let's pray together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Ba'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mivarach leolam lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha brihu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. If you're standing, you may be seated for a few brief but meaningful announcements. For some great stuff that's coming up. I'll say in general, read your email. We send out lots of great emails that has all sorts of wonderful stuff going on with pictures and also links to all the things that are happening on Zoom. Of a special note, this Sunday, it's very important. We have a Holocaust Remembrance Day coming up, and this Saturday night, rather, it begins and goes through Sunday and then some. The Jewish Federation of the San Gabriel Valley has an event. Every person has a name. This goes on every year where I believe last year was at City Hall, where people took turns reading the names of those who perished in the Shoah and the Holocaust, and different rabbis and cantors and different people took turns reading names. I have a shift at 3 p.m. or so on Sunday, but this is very important. Begins Saturday night. That's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So look for the Jewish Federation information about how to tune into that. That continues through Sunday. Also, on Sunday, there is religious school. And during religious school, for those of you in his class, if you want to get out of religious school, you go to the Sunday Minyan for Riley McMillan, whose bar mitzvah is next week. It's very exciting. So we're having his tefillin minyan at 9:30 a.m. this Sunday. There's also a social justice committee meeting at 10 a.m. this Sunday. On Monday, we have no events scheduled. That's taking a little breath here, I guess. But on Tuesday, all sorts of great stuff. We have a meditation group at 8:45, religious school at 4. We have during religious school, if you've been taking part in the Judaism in the Home project that we've been doing, there will be an office hour with Rabbi Carrier. That's me. There will have so if you've been doing Judaism in the Home, you have any questions at all about that or about Judaism in the Home in general, or any question you feel like asking me, I will be present for you to hopefully answer those questions at 4 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon. And then that evening, there is a social hall with Dr. Claire Cherisho, Director, Vaccine Preventable Disease Control, LA County Department of Public Health. And she will help us understand what is happening with the vaccines here in LA County. It's complicated. The news changes daily. And so please come to that social hall on Tuesday evening at 7:30 to find out the state of the art. On Wednesday, we have a Sisterhood Rosh Chodesh event at 7:30 p.m. and a Pirkei Avot discussion group at 8. Thursday, you can continue exploring your life through Torah with Rabbi Jason Mann at 10 a.m. or go to our Melton OMG class at 7:30 p.m. And then, as I said before, and I'm going to say it again, next Friday and Saturday, we are celebrating the bar mitzvah of one Riley McMillan. And so that's you'll find out more about that. Come to the bar mitzvah. But this is something I really want to pay a lot of attention to, and I may hand it over to Ruth in a second, but first I want to tell you how excited I am for Shabbat Shirah. This is an incredible program that Cantor Ruth has been working so hard on with some friends from around the world. I'm just going to let you talk about it, Cantor Ruth, because I'm too excited about it.
Sure. The first thing I want to say is that we have moved the timing for the Shabbat Shirah celebration to 7 p.m. So even though it says 6 p.m., we are going to let you finish your dinner, and then you can join us for Havdalah and for a wonderful concert. These 3 cantors are 2 of them from different parts of the world, the 3 of them from different parts of the world. Magda Fishman was born in Israel, and she's currently in Boca Raton, Florida, and Chazan Elias Rosenberg and Chazan Ari Litvak. Elias is in Boston, and Ari is in Mexico City, and we grew up together in Argentina, and I am delighted to bring them from all corners of the earth to celebrate Shabbat of song with the focus of healing and renewal. And having lived through this past year, I think we all can use a little bit of healing, renewal, and celebration together. So I look forward to having you joining us.
Excellent. And one last announcement I want to make before we move on to some wonderful presentations that we have for our Bat Mitzvah. And that is that next Sunday, January 31st, is a very important program that's being sponsored by both the Sisterhood and the Men's Club simultaneously. That's Sunday morning at 10 a.m. We are having a speaker event hosted by the Or Tamid Society about ethical wills and estate planning. So if you want to know what ethical wills are, something more about estate planning, or hear more about the Or Tamid Society, of which I am personally a big fan, you're going to hear more about that next Sunday, January 31st at 10 a.m. For links to all these wonderful things, please read your emails from us or look on our website, or just call and ask me, and I'll tell you how to get there. Now, without further ado, or any more announcements, I would like to call up Noah Kronsberg, who is going to present a gift on behalf of the USY. And I believe, let's pan it back to the chapel. First, real quick, I want to show the goodie bag. Do you have a goodie bag there? Do you have some gifts in the vicinity that you can, okay, so put that bag up there so that there's a little focal point while Noah, well, let's go over to Noah. Noah, talk about what's in the bag.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say Yasher Koach, Elizabeth. I know your bat mitzvah looks a little bit different than what you probably have imagined it would look like, but I can certainly say that you've blown everyone away here, away today with the level of preparation and intention you have shared with us in the span of just a couple of hours. Like Rabbi Carrier said, my name is Noah Kronsberg. For those of you who don't know me, I serve as Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center's USY Vice President of Religion and Education. And the reason I'm here virtually tonight is to present Elizabeth with this green book. It's called a Bechol Echad. It's a songbook, and I think, like Rabbi Carey said, you should be able to find it in the little. There you go. Yeah, right there. And so this is a USY songbook. It's not only used at PJTC USY events, but regional and international events as well. And so I hope I see you at USY events using this. And I want to say that everyone here is so proud of you, and we cannot wait to hear the knowledge you plan to share with us tomorrow. So I hope to see you in the future, hopefully in person, but if not, until then, virtually. So I want to say Yasher Koach and Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach, Noah, and I want to hand it back to Cantor Ruth, who is going to be presenting Elizabeth a gift on behalf of the sisterhood.
So hi, Elizabeth, can you see the gift that says sisterhood? Is a box. It has some candy there. So usually Nancy Carlton is here, but she is not available today. So I'm going to present on behalf of sisterhood. She writes, Elizabeth, there are certain days in the life of a young person that stand out from the rest. Days that will always be remembered as important milestones on the road to adulthood. This is a truly wonderful milestone for you, a day that must make you very, very proud, a day that brings admiration and warm congratulations from all your friends and family. May this Kiddush cup that I am presenting to you on behalf of sisterhood be a reminder of this special milestone in your life. Shabbat Shalom.
And last and certainly not least, it is Eric Schlecht, who is going to present a gift on behalf of the Men's Club.
Hi, Elizabeth. I'm the Eric Schlecht, the representative from the board of PJTC Men's Club, and I want to say, echoing Noah and Cantor Ruth, that we are so proud of you, PJTC, for all the work that you've done, especially in these difficult times. And I was really happy that you and your family decided to zoom back to PJTC to celebrate your bat mitzvah here after you moved to the west side. And I hope you've been able to keep up with your viola playing and with the ensemble that you play with and singing with the LA Jewish Kids Chorus and in these hard times. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to present you with a yad, courtesy of PJTC Men's Club. So PJTC Men's Club supports the schools, the school you go to, the preschool. We like to support the youth groups, USY, that Noah talked about, and Kadima, and the breakfast, the pancakes that unfortunately we missed this past year. And what we do is we give them to you, your classmates, as because you are the future of the people. And of course, that's a major part of the whole bat mitzvah effort that you've put in so much work on in the past weeks, months, years. And so tomorrow you're going to read the Torah, and we hope that you'll use the yad to help read the Torah. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, I have a yad here that Cantor Ruth kindly gave me a few years ago, not for my bar mitzvah, mind you, but and so it points to the Torah on this end. You hold it on this end, and in the middle is your name. So your name, not my name, on yours. And as you know, our tradition is that we don't touch the Torah with our hands because, well, if it were just you, it would be all right. But over the years, we want it to last another 1,000 years. So that way we protect it. But I like to think of the yad as sort of a conduit, a connection between you and all your talent and all your work and your voice to the past, our Torah tradition from 3,000 years ago. So anyway, I want to say Yasher Koach, Mazel Tov, and Shabbat Shalom. And I'll be waiting to hear you tomorrow.
Yeshkoach, Eric. Did he say Zoom back to Pasadena?
Yes, he did. That was pretty cool.
That's amazing. Thank you, Eric. So without further ado, or much further service for that matter, we are going to begin, or we're going to end as we began, and that is enjoy a song. So I'm going to ask the family in the chapel to get a little bit closer together, to stand up, scooch in. I'll ask everybody else to stand up too, because whether you're singing along with us or not, and I certainly hope you are, it all sounds better if we're standing up and we have our blood moving a little bit. So we're going to close with this song, and then I'm going to ask you to stick around for Kiddush.
Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam Oro, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Ha'olam, Shalom, Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam Oro, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yevo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Ha'olam, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.
All right, everybody, stick around for Kiddush. We're going to get some wine and some bread and things together. If you have some wine and some bread that you'd like to join us at home, please do so. And we'll do Kiddush, and then we'll probably shut off the live stream. But everybody who's in Zoom, you stick around after Kiddush for a little bit of Mazel Toving and Yasher Koaching and just kibitzing. So one moment.
So if we can get back to the Nell Chapel as our Bat Mitzvah leads us in Kiddush, we're on page 312. And can you lift up the Kiddush cup? Go for it.
ויהרב ויבוקר יום השישי, ויחלו השמיים והארץ, וכל טבעם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי, מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי, מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה ושבת קודשו בו וברצון הנחלנו. זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תהילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציון Mitzrayim, kivanu v'chata, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava u'ratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat.
L'chaim.
Amen.
Drink up.
All right, if you've got some washing gear at home, those who wish to wash may wash as you wish, or if you prefer, I'll just be thinking about you while I do it. 1 second. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen. And I think they have challah there too, right? They brought challah. Let's, yes, go ahead, lift it up. Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom, mazal tov. Please share a little bit of challah with each one of your family members.
And I do mean a little bit.
You can eat it.
All right, thanks again, everybody, for joining us here at PJTC to celebrate